Hello, I'm Dynast Amir.
So I reached out to another friend of mine. I said, look, I need to go on vacation somewhere. Where should I go? He said, go to Africa. And not only am I going to go, I'm going to explore a new country. So I went to Tanzania, South Africa, Namibia, Mali, Senegal, Morocco, Liberia, Namibia, Kenya, the Voodoo Festival in Ouida, Gambia, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire. Sierra Leone, Ghana, Nigeria. It's been a beautiful experience, just learning more about our culture, our indigenous culture. So Uhuru means freedom in Swahili. I'm in search of my roots. In finding that, I would experience my Uhuru, which is freedom.
Till next time, Dynast Amir, I'm out.
Greetings, everyone. We are live again. Dynast Amir, Search for Uhuru. Before we get started, listen, my Bulldogs, my Georgia Bulldogs, my alma mater, back-to-back national champions. Let's give a round of applause for the Georgia Bulldogs, you guys. My alma mater, we beat the you-know-what out of TCU. That was like a varsity team playing. That's like a high school varsity team playing a junior high team. Again, that was like, let's hear Dynast. I'm a Buckeyes fan, but UGA did their thing last night. Listen, but it wasn't even close. Like it was like TCU quit in the first, like end of the first quarter. They quit. Like it wasn't even close. It was embarrassing. Like TCU should just stay at Fort Worth. Isn't that where TCU is? Texas Christian University is in Fort Worth area. They should just stay in Fort Worth. Not even got on the plane. That was an ass whooping. Listen, y'all gotta stop hating on Stetson Bennett. Y'all need to stop hating on Stetson Bennett. All right. He balled the you-know-what out. Stetson Bennett balled out last night. Stetson Bennett should have won a Heisman. He should have won the Heisman this year. He should have won a Heisman. Stetson Bennett balled out. Juanita said they were tired. I don't know what the excuse was, but 60. You can't justify giving up 65 points in a national championship game and lose about more than 50. Like you can't justify that. No excuse. The team had the flu. They were tired. Nah, 65 points? Ain't no excuse for that. But they got their you-know-what handed to them. So the University of Georgia, national champions. I don't even wear hats. Me personally, I don't wear hats. I never understood why. I used to, like my barber I used to go to in LA. Like, I never understood this. A cat will go into the barbershop, get a fresh haircut, to put a hat on. I'm like, why did you get a clean edge up lineup of fresh fade just to wear a hat? That's why I don't wear hats. I don't like covering up my hair. Even when I need a haircut, I still don't like covering up my hair. But I'm going to get me a Georgia national championship hat. And I'm going to rock the hell out my hat. All right. And listen, y'all going to catch hell for. Hold on. In fact, is my magazine over here? Hold on. Man, where my magazine at? Here it goes right here. See, since I'm alumni, listen, since I'm alumni, I'm pretty soon, probably like a week or so, I should be getting the national championship victory Georgia magazine here in about, probably end of this month. Since I'm alumni, comes directly to my house. So I am looking forward to that. Georgia Bulldogs, y'all, national champions. What? And we're going to run it back again next year and get that trifecta. The first team ever to win it 3 times in a row. Hold on one second, you guys. Okay, I'm back. Again, rerunning it back again next year, y'all. Once again, we're going to run it back again next year. All right. I can't wait till the new magazine comes in. Guys, do me a favor. USC didn't even win their conference. Talking about Caleb Williams on another level. They didn't even win their conference. Hold on, this light real quick. They didn't even win their conference. Talk about USC on another level. Man, listen, I'm gonna tell you like I told Professor Lumumba. Oh, wrong way. I'm gonna tell you like I tell Professor Lumumba. Some of y'all need to stop snorting that narcotic. All right. I don't know why I be talking crazy on here when it comes to college football. Some of y'all need to stop snorting that narcotic. Some of y'all need to stop snorting that nose candy. Okay. I'm tired of y'all coming out here talking crazy. Stop snorting that stuff. All right. University of Georgia rerunning it back again next year. 3-peat. Done. Guys, hit the like button again. Please hit the like button. Before we jump to the topic, all right, I think I'm going to do a whole separate stream on the University of Georgia and its national championship that boy, that was ugly. And see, I thought they were going to keep it close because the spread was 13 points. And I was thinking like, okay, it won't be 13 points. Maybe 10. We'll beat them by 10. 58 points? Are you for real? Come on, TCU. Nah, because folks be talking crazy. I ain't gonna say no names. I got certain friends who you guys know who sometimes on this show who are Alabama fans talk about they coming back next year. I'm like, are y'all on that stuff? Y'all need to stop snorting that ish. Put the nose candy, the booger sugar down. University of Georgia rerunning it back again next year. Guaranteed. Y'all mark this date. Y'all save this video. Record it. Repost it. We are winning the national championship again next year. That's what we're doing. All right, with that being said, guys, make sure, all right, listen, we're rolling to Africa. Well, to be specific, Sierra Leone in April, Senegal in May for the Jazz Festival, and we're rolling to Nigeria in August for the Oshun Festival. Okay? Come and join us. All right, please visit Danfo, DANFO .Africa. Again, please visit Danfo, DANFO .Africa to learn more. Happy New Year's. Please visit Danfo, DANFO dot Africa to learn more. We will love to have you. Again, we'll love to have you join us on one of our tours. Again, Sierra Leone in April, Senegal in May, Nigeria in August, Nigeria for the Oshun Festival, in August, Senegal for the Jazz Festival, then Sierra Leone. They haven't officially announced it for April, but no more than likely there's going to be another swearing in, another citizenship ceremony in Sierra Leone in April. So come and join us. So Sierra Leone in April, Senegal for the Jazz Festival in May, Nigeria in August for the Oshun Festival. Come and join us again. Come and join us. Also, if you have not bought the documentary in Search for Uhuru, go to searchforuhuru.com. Again, go to searchforuhuru.com and buy the documentary. Let's jump into today's topic. I found this video. It's pretty interesting. Let me give you the backdrop. If you guys don't know, Ghana is cracking in December. You know, you have Afrochella, which is now Afro Future Fest. We talked about that yesterday. You also have the Black Star Line Festival, and there was another festival going on. So you had a lot of people, especially from the diaspora, specifically from the diaspora, who were traveling to Africa. And sometimes when you have a lot of us, or just people in general, going to a certain destination, you're going to have some bad apples, okay? You're going to have some bad apples. So from just listening to some of this commentary, which I'm going to play, there are some bad apples that went to Ghana, all right, and just were complaining and fussing and being unreasonable. And what we have to understand, family, all right, what we have to understand, Ghana, Nigeria, Senegal, Sierra Leone, it's not America, all right? It's not America. Completely different. You know, each country has its own challenges. And we can't just be overly petty. I understand culture shock. I get it. Some people will experience culture shock when they go to another country. I get it. But just being overly petty and rude because of the culture shock, it's not right. Not having proper manners, not acting like you have, like, please act like you have some home training when you leave America and you travel. Here we go. The bougie black showed up. There you go. And it's okay to be bougie. If you want to be bougie, be bougie. That's fine. But you have to understand, you're not in America. You're in a totally different country. So there are going to be certain challenges that you just have to adapt to. Instead of complaining and being rude. So let's play this video real quick. Let's jump into it.
Most vacations, you take a trip. But in Israel, you'll take a journey you'll never forget.
You have to do your due diligence to do.
I was down to talk to my doctor about Rybelsus.
Ask your healthcare provider about Rybelsus today.
Are you driving way less than you used to? Do you have a clean driving record? Are you over 25?
Of party, a whole lot of hangouts, a whole lot of stuff going. Disclaimer here, this is for educational and commentary purposes.
Shout out to Destiny Ute. Make sure you guys go subscribe to her page. Again, Destiny Ute. Make sure.
But one of my biggest fears is that the more.
Hold on. Yeah, Destiny Ute. Make sure you guys go subscribe to her page, okay? Make sure you guys go and subscribe to her page. her YouTube page.
More Black Americans come to this continent, they will not handle it with grace and with care.
Disclaimer yet, this video is for educational and commentary purpose only. This channel does not support any form of violent, hate speech, or any illegal activity. This video is for educational and commentary purpose only. Hey beautiful people, how you're doing today? It's your girl Destiny here and welcome back to my channel. How you're doing today? Hope you guys are having fun. So this video, I just find this video really interesting. And I feel this is a conversation we should have as Black people as a whole, both African Americans or Black Americans, Africans, even the Caribbeans. Like I feel like it's a conversation we should all have. So this all Dirty December thing. So this is what happened. So we all know that Africa, Nigeria, Ghana went crazy this December. There's all this return to Africa, Dirty December thing. And if you don't know, it's a thing here in especially West Africa, where the December is a Dirty December, where there's a whole lot of party, a whole lot of hangout, a whole lot of stuff going on. So apparently a lot of our beautiful Black sisters and brothers from the United States, from America, decided to come to the motherland. And some of them didn't have a good experience. Some of them had a blast. And this just strike this type of conversation. Anyway, this was what led this sister to say what she said, and listen to what the sister said, because I feel like it's a bigger conversation we need to have. I need you guys to hear what she said, and then we'll come back and talk.
I am a Black American and I absolutely love to travel to the continent of Africa. It's my favorite continent in the whole wide world. But one of my biggest fears is that the more Black Americans come to this continent, they will not handle it with grace and with care.
Guys, and we talked about this in the video before. Listen, when people reach out to me and they inquire in regards to joining one of our tours, again, when people reach out to me and they inquire on joining one of our tours, when they bring up, hey, Dynast, I'm interested in going, but I want to see if my girlfriends want to come. I want to see if my cousins want to come. That's a stalling tactic. And the reason why I say that, like, listen, you guys know your friends and family. You guys already know if they're going to be a fit in regards to traveling to Africa. I tell people, like, traveling to the continent more than likely is going to be a journey that you got to take on your own or with groups like myself with like-minded people. But trying to convince your family or friends to come to Africa, that's a waste of time, because you already know your family and friends, and the majority of the time they're stuck in their ways, they're ignorant, they're not cultured. And bringing your family and friends to Ghana or Nigeria, and you know your family or friends, they're gonna ruin your trip. That's why I always ask people when they, when they're inquiring on traveling with us, when they bring up the whole, let me see if my friends want to come. I ask them, is your friends coming to Africa contingent on you coming to Africa? I always get that long pause, because if they are, you're not serious about coming, because you know darn well your friends don't want to come to the continent. You know your family. Like, listen, I'm a sales guy. I know stalling tactics. You already know your family. You know your family's not good. I mean, I'm sorry. I hate to say it. Many of us were not cultured. We're not open-minded. We refuse to test our comfort level. So the minute I hear the whole, let me see if my friends want to come, I'm like, oh, man. I'm like, okay, listen, do you want to come? Because again, you enjoying Africa should not be contingent on your friends and family. And I'm telling you, you bring your ignorant ass friends and family to Africa because you know them. Like you grew up with these people, you live with these people, you know how they are. They're gonna ruin your trip. So y'all, when planning to go to Africa, if you are not planning to go with a tour group or with a travel company like myself, just plan to go on your own. I mean, think about it. It's hard enough to get our folks to plan and coordinate to go to STK. Like I don't do like I listen. What I mean by STK, our Cheesecake Factory. I'm gonna tell you why. You get to STK, you get the Cheesecake Factory. Here comes the bill. You always got those 4 or 5 people. Well, you know, my dinner came out to $10.99, and see, I'm only paying $10.99. Well, you know, gratuities included because the party more than 8. Well, okay, so the gratuity is altogether $50. So $10.99, we're gonna take that $50 and we're gonna split it upon amongst us 8. So okay, so I'm only paying, you know, $17. So some of y'all short, some of y'all short. Like I'm too old for that. So we can't even decide, or we can't even you and your family and your cousins and your sisters and your girlfriends, y'all can't figure out the bill at STK, but you want to tell me you want to bring them to Africa with you. You got to see if they want to come. You know they ain't gonna work out.
So, for example, I am in Ghana right now, and I'm getting messages, and people are sending me texts of people who had a bad experience at a festival, or like all 2 people who got their phone stolen. And people are like, oh my God, I'm afraid, I can't come. They don't have their stuff together. This, that. And I'm like, that is their experience. It's not my job to negate or validate somebody's personal experience. That is what happened to them. But I just wish more Black Americans handled the systems that they think need to be in place with more care, understanding the historical context for why those conditions actually exist. And also understand that negative news about the continent literally drives people's internalized fear that Africa is inherently bad, and it literally feeds stereotypes. I'm not telling people how they should feel. I'm just saying that as Black Americans, with all your Western ideology and our privilege and our internalized challenges with the continent already, let's make sure we handle it with more care and more grace.
So that's what she said. Let me know what you think about what she said down in the comment section, because I have a lot to say, but just go ahead, share your thought, because that's what we do here. We have conversations. So go ahead, share your thought about what she said down in the comment section. So this got a lot of people's reaction, both the African Americans, both the Africans' reaction on what she said about how some African Americans should bother coming to the continent and all that. Anyway, guys, I need you guys to hear other people's reaction to this, and then I'll come back and give my piece on this whole thing.
The more Black Americans come to this continent, they will not handle it with grace.
Disrespectfully, some of y'all don't need to go to Africa. Disrespectfully, some of y'all just stay in the States. I beg, please stay in the States. See, me, myself, I was going to keep quiet. about the things that I saw on the internet concerning Dirty December and the concerts and parties and things that y'all did in Ghana and Lagos and all over the continent of Africa. But let me just forewarn you, if you are not born in Africa or have never been to Africa, please leave your preconceived notions, your biases, and what you've seen on the news and on television at the door, or don't go at all. I literally saw captions with people saying, don't go to Africa, don't go to Afrochella, don't waste your time, don't waste your money. Did Astro World not happen here in the good old United States of America? Did people not get trampled at a...
So if you don't know, Astro World is the what's the concert or event held by, is it Travis Knight? What's the guy's name? It's Travis Knight, right? What's the singer's name? Guys, what's the singer's name? Travis Scott. I'm tripping. Travis Scott. Right. So Astro World was the event held by Travis Scott, and there was a huge accident where, like, I think close to a dozen people got killed and hundreds were injured. I said Travis Scott, sorry. So that's the problem. Like, the people who would tell you that Africa isn't safe live in LA, Compton, St. Louis, Chicago, New York, where the murder rate, the crime rate is higher, way higher than the majority of the cities that we visit in Africa. But these people want to be experts on crime in Africa when they can't solve the crime issues in their own cities. Like, I'm here in Atlanta. Every other weekend, there's a news story of a youth teenager getting murdered here in Atlanta. But you will have folks that would tell you not to go to Africa, but they live in Atlanta, they live in Chicago, they live in LA, these cities where the murder rate is high, you have high crime, homelessness everywhere. But they want to be the experts on safety in Africa.
The concert here in the US, and shocker, you go to a continent and you get stolen from. Shocker. Oh my God. Did Kim K not get stolen from in Paris? Like, are you shocked that you go and there's bad people everywhere, there's bad apples everywhere that you go? And instead of realizing that you going out and saying, don't go somewhere, feeds.
Just, you got to protect your pockets, protect your bags. Don't leave your phones laying around. It's pretty simple. Don't leave your phones laying around. Protect your bags, protect your pockets. And you'll be fine.
Into the biases that's already against Africa, instead of realizing it and saying, hey, how can I phrase this? Or how can I say this? Or how can I say, here are the things you need to be cautious for? You get on the internet and say, don't go. It's not worth it. In 2021, I went back home to visit my family. And on my way back from Accra or Kumasi, Ghana, I sat next to a woman who is from New York. She's Black American. And me and her just started talking. And I asked her why she was there. And she said, Africa's my adopted country. She said, I found out my ancestry was from Ghana and I've been back 12 times now. And she said, I ended up bringing these other ladies with me. They were on another part of the plane. And she said, it was one of the worst mistakes I ever did. She said, they came here thinking they were going to get the United States out of a continent that's not the United States. And they complained the entire time. She looked at me and she said, Philmy, some people don't deserve Africa. And I learned my lesson about bringing people who did not deserve Africa into Africa. Anytime I meet a Black American that has not been to Africa, I always tell them, you should go find out your ancestry. Go visit such a beautiful continent. But make sure you go there with the right mindset and a heart to receive. Leave your biases at the door or on the airplane. Bye.
I am a Black American and I absolutely love to travel to the continent of.
I had to give my 2 cents on this. So I'm a Haitian American. I live in Brooklyn and I've been in Ghana for the last month. I feel so much safer in Ghana than I do in the United States. I came here with an open mind and an open heart. I don't know what to expect. I was nervous staying for a month, of course, because, you know, it's a new place for me. It's my first time in Africa. And I've had the absolute time of my life. I want to come back here as often as I possibly can. I even want to invest in here. So many things. If you are traveling somewhere, especially somewhere like Ghana, please, and different parts of Africa also, please be mindful of how you talk about these places and be mindful of how you are sharing information about these places. If you're telling people to be careful, definitely watch your phrasing. You don't have to instill fear into people. I am not worried about going somewhere and a random shootout happening. I feel literally at home. I've made some of the most amazing friends, connections, times. It doesn't even feel like a place. I've been so much happier here and just so joyful. And I definitely want other people to experience that. So please be mindful how you share information about Ghana if you're traveling in Nigeria and all these places. And yeah, that's it. I just wanted to give my 2 cents because I really do agree that you should really come and travel and come to Africa, but come with an open heart and open mind.
I am a Black American and I absolutely love to travel to the continent of. First and foremost, I want to say I'm a Black American, obviously, and I 100% agree with this creator's take on, you know, just giving advice to Black Americans that when they do travel to Africa, you need to have context, you need to do your research, and you need to not have that American privilege veil over when you step onto that continent. And I reposted the video and I started to read the comments, and it was just a little disheartening to still see, you know, like this xenophobia towards Black Americans and, you know, saying like, don't come, we don't want you here, no one's begging you to come here. And I think they're completely missing the point, and they're also just fueling, you know, more of that fear to travel to a place where everyone looks like you, but, you know, people are already going to judge you or receive you in the wrong way. Like, obviously, African Americans from America know how violent America is. We live in these bad neighborhoods. We know that we can get our phones stolen. Shit, our friends are dying every day, family dying every day. So we're not, you know, we're not dumb when it comes to that. I think this is also not the first time that Black Americans have gotten on this app and expressed their fears to traveling anywhere. Like, you always see creators talking about, here are the places that were great as a Black person. You know, here are the places that were not so great. I think no one is traveling to hate a country. Like, no one is going to spend $2,000 on a flight to go to Ghana to hate it. You know, like, people want to love it. People want to love Africa. Like, it's in us. Like, we're African descendants, you know? And so I think, you know, it's a little ignorant to feel like most Black Americans are also xenophobic towards Africa. You know, I think obviously it hits a little more home when we say things because we are of African descent, but a lot, obviously my whole circle is Black Americans, and everyone wants to go to Africa. Everybody wants to travel and understand where they come from and visit the sites that our ancestors once, you know, were at, etc. And so I just want, one, we need to leave the diaspora wars in 2022, but two, I want to reiterate for all Black Americans, like this woman said, do your research, don't be an asshole, understand the context of the situation before you go somewhere, and you're not just going because you saw Burna Boy perform, but also for Africans to receive us with a little grace because we want to get to know you. We want to be a part of you. We want to embed ourselves in that culture. So just give us a little, you know, handhold a little bit, give us a little break because we want to be there and we want to love on y'all. And I think it just takes a little bit more understanding from both parties. No one is going to spend $2,000 on a flight to go to Ghana to hate it. You know, like, people want to love it. People want to love Africa. Like, it's.
I just want to say a couple things. If y'all ever hear the diaspora talk, a lot of us are just saying a lot of the same thing. We just not hearing each other. Black Americans do not need to be stereotyped with all the shit that the stereotype them as. But the same thing as Africans. So I'm gonna explain it like this. I was raised in Oakland, so when I moved to Southern California, every single person had this really bad perception of Oakland. Of course, I'm Black, so they probably didn't think of like the nice parts of Oakland. In college, when people would ask me where I was from, I would say, yeah, I'm from Oakland. They would be like, oh my gosh, you must hear gunshots every day. Like LA shit don't stink. Anyways, I even remember working at this coffee shop, and this was in San Francisco, and the boy was from San Diego, and he was like, yeah, I don't ever get on the train and go back to Oakland. I might get shot. Really? Remember, crime happens where there's poverty. And we all know why there's poverty in these places. And we all know how highlighting these stereotypes harms our people.
Fears is that the more Black Americans come to this continent, they will not handle it.
This is just funny because we're not going to act like in Lenox Mall, people are not getting their designer bags snatched up from them in broad daylight. We're not going to act like in New York, people are not getting pickpocketed in broad daylight. Things that are happening in African countries also happen in the US. So if you are a Black American, white American, anybody who, whatever, and you're going to visit an African country and, you know, trouble happens, that's not an excuse to demonize the nation because the same things happen in the US too. So I think the issue is a lot of Black Americans are coming to African countries and still taking an American mindset. So it's like, yeah, we're both Black, but you need a reality check. And respectfully, you need a reality check. Like, Africa is not one place that is always sunshine and kumbaya and roses, and you connect to the motherland, and now all your problems go away and there are no problems. Nothing like that. Like, there are still issues that go on. There are still hiccups. You have to do your due diligence to do research, you know, and if you are coming there thinking, you know, there is not going to be issues, you're going to be in for a big shock. Like, everywhere has issues, like first world nations, third world nations, everywhere has issues. So as an African, I would advise African Americans who want to go travel to any African country, do your research, you know, protect yourself at all times. It's, you know, Africa is not like a fantasy getaway land that doesn't have issues, and when it does, and when issues do arise, that's not necessarily a green card for you to demonize it. So I think more people need to have wisdom, and I think this is why a lot of people say, like, Americans in general, be it Black Americans or white Americans, they really do think the world revolves around them and are not really very you need to be a bit cultured. I think you just need to be a bit cultured. That's all I'm gonna say.
More Black Americans come to this continent.
So I am also an African American who loves to travel Africa, and I want to share with y'all a huge mistake I made my first couple trips to Africa so that you don't make the same mistake that I did. And I think this is a mistake that a lot of folks are making when they travel to the continent, especially like the first 1 or 2 times. Y'all, growing up in America, y'all know, come on now, we were all force-fed the negative images of Africa, right? The Feed the Children commercials and all that stuff. But then you get older and you come into consciousness, right? For a lot of African Americans, we come into consciousness. We start studying Africa. You may have even went to school like myself, and you studied Africana studies, and you read the books, and you watched the movies, and you become a Pan-Africanist in some ways, in many ways. You change your thought pattern and you start romanticizing Africa in a beautiful Pan-Africanist way. And when I say we start romanticizing Africa, oftentimes as a form of revolution, as a form of rebellion, we go in the exact opposite direction of everything that America tried to teach us about Africa, like it's poor and starving and jungles. We go in the exact opposite direction, and we view Africa as a place of wealth and our history and our heritage and beauty, and it's gorgeous. And we start to almost, again, romanticize it. That's like the best way I could put it. So my first trip, before I went to Africa the first time, I had this beautiful Pan-Africanist mindset of Africa. I had romanticized it. I was like, it's going to be this beautiful experience. It's going to be this beautiful place. It's going to be perfect. Everybody's Black. You know, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be all things beautiful and romantic and loving. And, you know, I know that it's not what we saw on TV. It's wealthy. It's a nation that's rich in resources. And I had this beautiful romantic idea of Africa. And a lot of that is true. But because I romanticized Africa so much, and again, this was done as a form of rebellion against what we had been taught. That's for many of us our method of coming into consciousness, or a consequence, I should say, of coming into consciousness. We go in the opposite direction. And when I got there, it's not that it wasn't beautiful. It's not that it wasn't gorgeous. It's not that I didn't have an amazing experience, but it was normal. It was just like America, where you had beautiful areas and you had areas that are still developing. You had people who showed so much love, and then you also had people who were not that kind. It was a regular experience that we would have here in America. So what I would say is just go with an open mind, give grace, be understanding. And you really have to just kind of undo any idea in either side, either direction of what your experience will be, and just enjoy the experience.
I am a Black American and I absolutely love to travel to the continent of.
Hey, beautiful people. I'm a Black American and I'm actually.
Well, I basically bought this roof over the internet, which wasn't something I'd ever done before.
In Africa. Currently, I'm in Senegal, West Africa. And as you see, everything is absolutely lovely.
Y'all, Senegal is my favorite country. Don't tell nobody. With that being said, shameless plug. Taking a group to Senegal in May for the Jazz Festival. Again, I'm taking a group to Senegal in May for the Jazz Festival. Come and join us in Senegal. Again, go to danfo.africa, danfo.africa. Again, please visit danfo.africa and come and join us in Senegal for the Jazz Festival. And once again, guys, don't tell anybody. All right. Senegal is my favorite country. I'm sorry about that. Again, don't tell anybody. Senegal is my favorite country. Go to danfo.africa. Come and join us. Okay.
Peaceful. You can hear the birds all around me chirping. We just left from Guinea, West Africa yesterday, or last night, and arrived here last night. Africa is everything. Baby, I don't care who you are and where you're going. When you go someplace just to party, and you know how it is, you go to Super Bowl parties or basketball parties, you go to another city and party, you know how stuff jumps off when you are clubbing and drinking and smoking and whatever that is. But you come to Africa with some people that's cool, with some stuff that's chill, baby, this is paradise. This is paradise. So check.
Please kindly share your thoughts about this video down in the comment section. Share your thoughts about the main video and then the stages of the video. So go ahead, share your thoughts, because that's what we do here. We have conversation. So feel free, air your opinion. But please.
All right, and the second topic, Meek Mill. I see a lot of people upset at Meek Mill. Listen, we can't be mad at Meek Mill because Meek Mill's behavior was rewarded by Ghanaians, okay? So Meek Mill goes to Ghana, acts a fool, gets invited to the equivalent to the White House of Ghana, gets to meet the president, goes to Ghana for a concert, gets the bag. So we shouldn't be mad at Meek Mill because Ghanaians and even Black people here in America, there are demographics of people worldwide that reward dysfunctional behavior. And Meek Mill being able to go visit the president, which, hey, more power to him, the president of Ghana, I mean, his behavior was rewarded. Okay. I don't know, what came of that meeting with the president of Ghana, but hey, congrats to Meek Mill for being able to sit down with the president of Ghana. So in the black community, we tend to reward dysfunctional behavior. So it's what it is. Listen, we're gonna take a commercial break. I'm gonna put the link in the chat room. Again, I'm going to put the link in the chat room. If you guys want to call in and add to the conversation, you're more than welcome to call in and add to the conversation. And we're gonna hear a message, our messages from our sponsors. We'll be right back. Gotta pay the bills, y'all. Gotta pay the bills.
At the Okoli Law Group, we specialize in producing justice. If you or a loved one in the Atlanta metro area is facing serious criminal charges, then you need serious legal representation.
The Okoli Law Group is here for you. The Okoli Law Group is here for us.
The Okoli Law Group, serious legal representation.
Hi guys, I'm Jay Dior, intuitive reader and spiritual advisor. If you are someone who has been looking for more clarity or guidance on some of the issues that you have been experiencing in your life, then you can head to my website, boujievoodoo.com, where you can check out my reviews, or you can go ahead and book a session now. Also, check out my boutique, J. Dior Beauty, where I sell everything from luxury virgin hair and wigs to high-quality sport bikinis and swimwear. There is free shipping on all orders over $100, or you can use promo code YouTube for an extra 10% off. Scan the QR code to check out the site now.
Hey you guys, it is your girl Alexis Fowler coming to you with a special sale of 40% off all of my services when you use promo code VIP40 at alexisfowler.com. As a brand designer and consultant, I provide services like digital art, logo designs, packaging designs, web designs, social media flyers, and much more. If you're an entrepreneur with a business or a startup company and you need help with branding and graphic design, make sure you take advantage of this opportunity with 40% off using promo code VIP40 to get 40% off on all my services at alexisfowler.com.
All right, we are back. Let's bring Alan on. Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I don't see why we can't be mad at Meek Mill. He he did something wrong. He did exactly what people got on Snoop Dogg for doing when he was invited to the White House, and he was up in there bragging about smoking weed there and doing all kind of ignorant things. Well, he showed up to the equivalent someplace else, and he kind of made a fool out of himself, making a music video in a place where that shouldn't have been taking place. I don't see why we can't.
What are you expecting from Meek Mill or Snoop Dogg?
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, what are you expecting from these guys?
I will tell you what I expect. I expect them to actually, have common sense and change up when you go someplace important. Maybe I expect too much.
They are going to be always in Meek Mill and Snoop Dogg character, period. That's just how they are.
Then we need to clean up who it is we're dealing with, who we have who are entertained by then, because that's not acceptable. No, I mean, you could take the most out there wild dancehall artists and they wouldn't show up. They would act differently if they showed up to some place where a head of state is. I don't see why that's too much to ask. But
yeah, you're right. You're right. But I think dancehall is different though. Dancehall is different from these rappers.
Yeah. I don't know. I think anybody. I can't think of any other culture or a group of people who would feel entitled to do that. To start filming a video. I can't think of anybody. Everybody's on their best behavior when they show up.
Yeah, but again, our culture rewards dysfunctional behavior.
Well, that's that. And then we propagate it and we spread it and
Right.
have it going over to Africa. Cardi B's popular over there, and yeah, so I got it. It's I don't know. I think everybody should know to not do stuff like that. That's
Somebody says dancehall is not different than those rappers. What are you guys watching? I mean, I could be wrong. It's just I don't hear dancehall talking about how they smoked the whole neighborhood so dope to everybody in the neighborhood. Shot Alan's mama. Alan. That was that was a terrible example. I'm just giving. Caught Alan lacking in the streets.
Right.
Sold dope to everybody. Cooked up dope. Sold it throughout. The dance hall streets, we got a lot of
those lately. We have a few of those lately. We have some. We have a group called Six and all these other people who do similar things now because they have a new thing called trap dance hall. Again,
they have what?
Trap dance hall. Yeah, we have trap dance hall now. You should listen to it.
I don't.
America has spread this type of thing all over the world. And so that's the concern that I get when we watch videos like this, where we're saying we can't take everybody to the Caribbean, to the people. There's certain people who need to stay in their neighborhoods.
Somebody says Trinidad dance hall and trap dance hall. Well, I didn't even know there was such thing as trap dance hall, but Trinidad dance hall is very violent.
Yeah. It is. There is. Matter of fact, we had a dancehall artist here in the United States who got shot just recently. So this kind of culture is spreading to everybody. It's not as widespread and where it's accepted as it is in American hip hop, where we have an entire genre like drill music where everybody's dying, but it's still there.
All right, OB, go ahead, OB.
What's up, bro? How y'all doing?
Good.
Good. I just had a few thoughts real quickly. Meek Mill is Meek Mill. I think I think there's probably enough blame. I'm not seeing all of the conversations, but I think there should be more blame put on the Ghanaian president. I saw a picture online on Twitter before the video came out of the Ghanaian president doing like a picture with Meek Mill. And I think what a lot of people are not paying attention to is the fact that, I respect on some level the Year of the Return movement and the fact that the Ghanaian government is trying to reach out to Black Americans in particular and other Blacks in the diaspora and the Ghanaian diaspora. But it's mainly really a push for money. It's not to say that a cultural connection is the most important thing, but it's not a cultural connection push, and it's not an investment drive. It's more like we want to get Black Americans to Ghana so that it can be tourists. So
listen, I would much rather have Black Americans circulating their money in Ghana than Europe and Central.
I
South
agree.
America and Asia. I would much rather have that money going there.
I agree. I totally agree with you, and I'm totally down with that. But I only bring that up to say that the reason why Meek gets access is because the Ghanaian president is like, yo, every time a popular Black American comes, we need to get in front of them or stand next to them or have them in some type of highlight so we can keep getting Black Americans to come. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but you have to ask yourself, why is the president not busy enough with the Ghanaian economy struggling like it is right now? Why is he not busy enough that he has the time to meet with Meek Mill? So I think the majority of this thing should be put on the Ghanaian president. It's good to drive Black Americans to come to Africa, especially to circulate their dollar. I think more so for investment and cultural connection. But if your schedule's not busy enough that you have time to meet with Meek Mill because you're trying to push this agenda, then I think we should blame him. And that's my opinion. And then secondarily, I just want to say, I think the conversation and the videos you played are pretty good, Dynast. I think that people just need to step back and understand Black people are just emotional. Black people in America are emotional. Black people in Africa are emotional. And things are gonna happen to people, but because we're so emotional, we always make it a bigger issue than it has to be. Oh, I got robbed at something. Oh, you got robbed. You're saying our place is bad. People on both sides complaining more than they should. Shit happens. That's my opinion.
Okay. What I would say is that that we have to acknowledge that there is an ugly American attitude or sense of American like exceptionalism or American
Alan,
imperialism.
if I could interject real quick, somebody, and I'm sorry, Alan, somebody makes a great point. Year of Return was initiated by Black Americans. That's a fact. That's a fact. It was
Listen.
Diallo Sunbury. I know Diallo personally. Go ahead.
Yeah, listen. Let me just respond to that real quickly. Listen, man. What I really wish that Black people, especially in America, because Black people in America don't run the government here, we think that we can push initiatives on another sovereign government. Yes, Black people in America or Black American might have done something to shine a light or like tried to quote unquote start an initiative. The Ghanaian government is pushing this initiative for their own interests. And African Americans do not have the ability to make initiatives happen on the level of the Ghanaian government. So we always say, yo, we did this or we did that. No, you did not. The thing is being pushed away is being pushed because the Ghanaian government has decided to do that.
Not even the Ghanaian government. I would say Nana Addo personally.
Exactly.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying
right
we
to do.
think that we have a lot of power because they're Black over there. That we like they do stuff on their own accord. Like we cannot influence them to do things in the way we think we can.
No, you're correct. I just don't see anything wrong with them doing that. We need to communicate with African leaders who are willing to listen. We need to have initiatives like this where people get to go over. We need to have situations where finally a government is willing to have us. Where places like Ghana and Sierra Leone, to a lesser extent, are doing this. Matter of fact, we need more African governments to do the things that Nana Addo has done to attract more people to more places, and not just all come to one place for Afrochella or Afrofuture, whatever we're calling it now. I think that's necessary, and there's nothing wrong or nothing dirty about Black people, using commerce amongst each other. I think that's a good thing. As a matter of fact, we need to get in that mentality where we're willing to go someplace like that and spend money. I think
I
that's
agree. Yeah, I agree with you, Alan. I don't want you guys to think, and I think people in the chat might think that I don't disagree with that. I actually think it's a great thing, but I think I think when you see it happen, it gets lost in translation why it's happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I agree with that. I do agree with that.
Yeah, I want to see more. I want to see Sierra Leone have more things, man. Nana Addo flew all over the Caribbean, all over in the different places in the United States, invited people over. He made a big deal about this, and he's reaping his country is reaping the benefits of it, and that's okay. That's not usury. That's not anything bad about that. I
I
admire
agree.
it.
Good stuff. I think it's a smart initiative. He's definitely very shrewd, and I would say in balance, it's a good thing that he's doing. So I agree with that. So I hope people don't take it as me saying he's doing something wrong. I'm just saying, step back and see. Just because a lot of Africans, particularly like Ghanaians, would all these people are coming over here. It's like, yo, just because you see people coming, you see the people coming, you're thinking that they're doing it out of their own volition. The president wanted this to happen. and that's what our people not seeing.
Okay.
And so, and then the situations like these happen, and then people get into being emotional and negative, you know. But I totally agree. I think it's a great thing that people are coming over, and that he's running this initiative. So I agree.
Yeah, he went all out, man. He went and he grabbed slave remains from Barbados and had it shipped over to Ghana and had it reburied in Ghana. He but to your point, actually, where I see your point, I can't imagine anybody famous or not famous showing up to a government building to meet a head of state wearing a what looked like a package of white white tees. You know, which is what Meek Mill and his whole entourage were.
The Fruit of the Loom tees.
The Fruit of the Loom.
Now they ain't got no Walmart in Ghana where you can just go to, you can go to Walmart and just get the Fruit of the Loom right off the shelf.
No. They got the malls in Ghana. It's right. There's one right across the street from Africa region, the ShopRite. There's a couple ShopRites in Ghana. They got where you can get the white tees.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Well, you know them flimsy ones where you can really see through.
Yeah, that's what they were.
What he was wearing.
Yeah, it wasn't even a good white tee. It was Hanes, and him and his whole crew were dressed in Hanes, going to go see the president of a country. Again, it's just a bad.
Al, you do realize a lot of people in his crew were Ghanaian.
I saw Ghanaians complaining that those like regular Ghanaians can't see, or like many types of Ghanaians cannot see or interact with some certain politicians and the president. So, yeah, I mean, that's just for context.
Yeah, no, it's listen. I don't mind him meeting American celebrities. He needs to be a little more selective. He needs to make sure that those guys come and represent properly, and then he needs to have some sort of security detail telling them yes or no of what they could do. If they were in the White House, they wouldn't have been allowed to do that, or maybe they would have. I don't know, but I just doubt that.
You know what it is? I think what it is that and again, I agree with his general initiative, but I think my problem with I guess the way he goes about his initiative is that there's excesses to it. So like the fact that he does he meets with Meek Mill is like an excess, but like going to like the Caribbean or coming to America and like going to a town hall in America and like trying to reach out to Ghanaian American doctors, those are like good excesses or good initiatives. But I think what I just think is that sometimes our politicians will see that they pay attention to our conversations, right? And they see what certain things could do, and then they say this might help out in this way, and then they lean into that sometimes too much. And so it's like, run the initiative, that's fine, but you don't need to meet with Mill to keep the initiative going. You should be looking at the fact that you guys are having inflation, or that you guys are not, that your currency compared to the dollar has decreased a lot, or that you guys are not having enough imports. Like, so I think what happens sometimes, African politicians and even people in our communities in America, they overdo in a certain initiative that is expired or doesn't make sense. If that makes any sense, hopefully that is sensible when I'm trying to.
It makes sense, but tourism and tourist dollars could help those problems too. So it's not just a frivolous pursuit on his part.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But what I mean is like they'll be okay. So an African politician or a black person, or black quote unquote pundit or leader in America, what they'll do is they'll speak to a certain issue. They'll actually, like, the mass will talk about, oh, we have this issue with Europeans, right? And then they'll say, the African politician will be like, yeah, this issue is the case, and they'll say it in front of a politician in Europe, and then they'll say it again and again and again, and it's like sometimes it's a lip service that they're doing for us. And so it's like, you only needed to say it once. You only needed to meet with a few African American musicians once or twice. The initiatives, the ball's already rolling. You don't need to continue to do this. And then when you continue to do this, this is where the excesses come, and you meet with somebody like Meek Mill. And they do that sometimes to placate us. They lean into certain things when it's excessive. And that's how this situation happens sometimes too.
Go ahead, Bree.
Hi guys, hi Dinos.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. I just wanted to interject quickly, like, aside from the political points that are being made, I feel at this time with the flight prices, a lot of the riffraff crowd isn't going to be able to afford to go all the way to Africa. It may be a dream trip that everyone's talking about, but a lot of people can't go.
Bree, you at
So,
Bree. I'm telling you. See, the thing is, you're thinking of the riffraff crowd,
right.
but what I'm telling you is a lot of, and I started to notice this when I used to go up to Morehouse and Clark and Spelman, because I had a friend who worked in the IT, who handles their IT, and so I would go up there and he would do some work together as far as on my laptop. He would, help install programs, whatever I needed. And I noticed like on a lot of these college campuses, it's like, you in college, why you being ratchet? So a lot of this riffraff is coming from the college educated demographic of Black America. Because for some reason they can't separate, hey, you're now in college. Like, leave the ratchet shit like in the hood.
behind.
Right.
Absolutely.
They're,
You're
bring, they're bringing
absolutely
that, they're
right.
bringing that now to the college campuses.
But the average college student can't afford the ticket to go to Africa
No, I know
either.
that, but what I'm saying is, even when they graduate from college and
They're
are in
bringing it with
corporate,
them.
they're still
Mhm.
ratchet. I'm in Atlanta. Like, you'll be surprised a lot of this ratchet stuff that goes on. Corporate, college educated people.
Well, there is something to be said for that. Some people just can't leave the hood or the hood mentality behind. You know, I stand corrected on that then, because in my mind, the people who I know who are from that mindset, they're wanting to go to Miami. They're wanting to go to Tulum, places that the flight price was pretty cheap. Yeah, Africa is on the tip of their tongue, but they don't have the scruples to save up and make a plan or do what they have to do to actually get there. It's just a dream trip that may or may not ever happen. But I do know a few people who do have corporate jobs or healthcare jobs, higher up jobs that fit that description that you're talking about. But even those people, they're worried about keeping up with the Joneses. If their friends are going to Tulum, they're trying to go to Tulum. Yeah, Africa seems cool and everybody wants to go, but they're trying to keep up with what society says is cool and wasting their money on silly stuff like labels. So the Africa trip, 9 times out of 10, it gets put off.
I got
So
a
I don't
question
know.
for
That's
Bree.
just my 2 cents. Yes.
Bree, yo, when do you think Tulum is gonna get old?
I think, well, in my mind, it
When
already
white
has.
people no longer think it's popular, when it's not popular amongst white people anymore.
Yeah.
All the trends as far as traveling is set by white people for the most part. Then Black people follow.
Yeah. Absolutely
So
right.
when white people get tired of Tulum, then that's when Black people get tired of Tulum.
Right.
It's all proximity to whiteness. Yep.
You're right, Dennis, because I went to Tulum. I think right at the start of Black people just getting on it in 2020, and then after that it was like everybody went. But we were like 3 years later, something like that.
I can't lie. Even I almost bought into the hype and wanted to go. And then the things I was seeing online of how people were acting there, I was like, yeah, new location.
It's confusing because Tulum is really cool, but Tulum is not it's not have y'all, Bree, you went to Tulum? Dennis, have you been there?
No, I wanted to, but then I just saw too
I've
much ratchet stuff.
never been to Tulum, and I'm the type of person, like, if a place is popular and trending, like, I usually don't want to go.
Okay, so I went. It was like, I guess almost 3 years ago now, but Tulum is not like Miami, man. It's like it's really The town is really small, and then the beach side is extreme. It's like a strip. It's not even like a Miami strip. It's really really small, and the energy of it's not like Cancun at all. So I don't know why it got popular like that. Like Tulum is like a place you go with a significant other, and you just chilling. You get some good beach photos. It's not like a party place.
From what I heard at the time, it was cheap. And then, but now I've heard it's gotten expensive because it's popular. So people started going there because it was beautiful. You could have nice pictures, and it wouldn't burn through your pockets at the time.
Right.
But that happens anytime some place becomes popular. You have people, and it's not just Black people. There's all kind of people who are riffraff who show up in places, tell people that it's okay to do whatever they want, and then the place goes left, and the prices get expensive, and that just seems to be the way these things go. It's like a cycle.
But anyway, I just wanted to jump on and say that a lot of people talk about going, but they never actually go. A lot of people are also scared to leave the small world that they know, especially people with that mindset. They want to stay in the same tourist traps, or they want to stay in the same whatever their friends are doing. So I think a few people might make it over, a few undesirable people, but at the end of the day, mostly people who have that mindset of really wanting to touch their roots are going to be driven to actually go and see Africa for what it is. That's just my thought.
Good point.
Good point. Hey guys, listen, link's in the chat room. Link is in the chat room if you want to call in and add to the conversation. Link is in the chat room, and you're more than welcome to call in and join. Obi, where you from?
Man, I'm from LA, man. Well, I'm not from LA. I'm really from the East Coast, but I live in LA. But I'm actually spending some time in the East Coast right now. But I live in LA.
All right, cool. That's what's up.
Yeah. I was gonna just say, we still got a lot of class issues that we actually don't talk about with Black people. We got issues of class, and I think Dynast, you talk about it sometimes, and I think you even mentioned it just now. But I think going forward, man, there's gonna be some people who a lot of Black people think are lower class than them, who somehow access money, and they're gonna go places and be around places that you're not gonna want to see them, and they're gonna be there, man. And I think we're gonna have to deal with that. And there's class issues in Africa too, man. And that's something we're gonna, because as the world grows and the economies get better in the world, people are gonna access money, and then you're gonna see people that you think are low class around you, and you have to deal with that.
But I don't think it's a class issue. I think it's I don't care what class you are. I care how you act when you get certain places. There's plenty of people.
But what
It's
I'm
a
saying
mindset.
is,
It's a mindset.
Correct.
True, but what I'm saying is, usually, especially in the past, people had a certain class and they had a certain mindset, and then they can only access certain things. Those were married before. Like, if you make a certain money, you have a certain mindset, and you're in a certain class, you usually access certain services, amenities. That can change, and then we can enter a world in which you're a Black person, you have a certain type of money, you have class, your parents a certain way, you're raised a certain way, and then there's somebody who's not like you but has enough money to access the space you're in.
Let's go ahead. Philip, go ahead, Philip, and then we'll pass it to Michael.
Hey, Dynast, thanks for having me on again. Alan, Obi, Bree, Wisdom Never Sleeps, and Michael. I appreciate you guys letting me on for a second. I messaged Dynast yesterday about this, the topic that we had yesterday. This is kind of like a follow-up, and I just wanted to throw 2 cents on this. There was a young man that came on yesterday and was talking about much the same issue, that he had come from Baltimore, and he was someone that had really interacted with the streets, and that going to Africa was something that helped heal him. and to help him recapture his humanity. And so it got me thinking, like, okay, wait a minute. This is an issue that's got to be addressed. And I wanted to give my first part about this, which is, look, as someone that actually interacted with a little bit of privilege and so on, I'm not of the view that the Jack and Jill Lynx approach to life, the Black Greek approach to life, is how we should approach Africa. And I think someone brought it up yesterday about the conflict between Du Bois and Garvey. And eventually Du Bois comes around and admits he was wrong in younger life of essentially throwing Garvey under the bus with the government with the help of A. Philip Randolph, only to be thrown under the bus himself with Paul Robeson and I'm trying to think who the other guy was. It was Du Bois, Robeson, and there was one other fella. Oh, A. Philip Randolph. They got thrown under the civil rights bus. That was the deal that Johnson cut, was that King, Whitney Young, and all of those under that umbrella, Abernathy, Andrew Young, all of these people had to separate themselves from Du Bois, A. Philip Randolph, and Robeson because they had an economic plan. And what I'm getting at is this. The Meek Mill situation, and I sent it to Dynast. Meek Mill was quite busy when he was in Ghana. Every day he was doing something. He filmed a music video, he's riding the bikes, he meets the president, he does the concert, and countless other things that I'm sure weren't on camera. What I'm concerned about is, I think when we talk about good manners in many cases, it's some form of mimicking European values and European society on some level, at least from the Jack and Jill standpoint. I'm not saying that they are a complete copy, but there are far too many people within that sphere that are trying to separate from the Black Americans that are here. And the result of that is it doesn't work, because for every person that's in Jack and Jill, there are two other people that are struggling that look just like them. And as far as the, European Americans, the Mzungus, they make no distinction. Whether you have a PhD or you never graduated high school, if you look like you're in a place where you can be jammed up, you're jammed up. And so what I said to Dynast was, look, there was a process by which African Americans became Black. They entered the country through their ancestors as Africans that came from a kingdom, that were part of a tribe, that spoke a language. And then there was a process by which the Europeans smashed down that Africanness, that they erased it. And how they erased it was a process by which they changed their language and they changed their names. And they did a whole bunch of other things which have been well documented that I'm not going to mention on this stream, to make them Black, flat Black, instead of Igbos and Yorubas and all the different things that they were. And so I'm thinking, I'm going to throw this to the panel, that there must be some sort of process. Maybe it's through the people that are trying to stay and are getting citizenship, to reintegrate them into reemerging as Africans, leaving that Western Black, which we're all Black, and reemerging as an African. Now, how they do it or why they do it, it's not up to me, but I think it's worthy of discussion. So I'm going to throw that to the panel.
Man, I would love to just say something that I don't want to hog up too much time, but it's a great question that you brought up, Philip. But here's the thing, and this is the thing. My parents are Nigerian. I grew up and was born and raised in America. And I think a lot of Black Americans don't understand this. And I think a lot of Africans born or coming directly from Africa, because our culture is African, we believe that we're closer to the quote unquote source. So we believe we can place ourselves as some type of rubric that the Blacks in the diaspora can measure themselves against. The culture we had before colonization is not the culture we have today. The people in Africa don't necessarily have the best values. So this thing that we're not going to become like the people, they might eat certain foods, speak certain languages, they might have some values that are existed before colonization, but it's not all the same. And here's the other thing. A lot of the stuff that people complain about with African Americans is not about African American culture. It's about existing as a citizen in a modern nation, but being in the poverty class. There are values and mindsets that comes with being in the poverty class. The only reason why people in Africa don't understand this is because Africa's poor. When Africa industrializes more, there will be a poverty class, there will be a middle class and a rich class. And because of the circumstances and experiences the poor class eventually in Africa will have, they will have certain mindsets and behaviors that you see in African Americans. The thing is, Black people are so sheltered, you don't study other cultures. The Irish, the Jews, the Italians experience a lot of the same things in America and in the UK that African Americans experience. So we're going forward, when even in China it happens. So we're never going to come to this place where we all have these behaviors and mindsets and values that we had back in the day. We're moving forward, and economics, your opportunity in society, what class you're born into, what kind of values your parents have, that's what's going to be important. Anything else is not going to be important. And I think it's very important as a for Black Americans, there's things that you need to understand about Africa, and you need to connect with African people. But as a Nigerian American, I need to tell you, the Africans in Africa do not have particularly better values than you just because they're in Africa. Some of them do, not all of them, not the whole culture. That's very important for you to understand.
Sorry, no, let me pass it to Michael Ade. Go ahead, Michael.
All right, Dynast, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Go ahead.
Oh, good. I mean, first time and always listen to your show, replay. Thank you so much for what you're doing, brother. I'm very proud of you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You know what? You put me down, and I want to. When I grow up, I want to be like you. That's what I say.
All right. Okay.
All right.
No problem.
Now, this point of what you're making, I know B has touched a lot on this point. You see, I came here when I was 25, so I know the culture and everything. You guys talking about mixed meal, because every time we see a lot of us that we go back home and we're given a red carpet is such a platform. Many of us in Africa would think you have arrived to the position to be an ambassador, because now you're representing, you coming from diaspora, not only yourself, but you're bringing something back. That's what is happening. For President Akufo to have given Meek Mills, it's not a mistake to me, but what is the level of intelligence of Meek Mills to take the advantage of that opportunity given to him? He didn't take it. That is the problem. And like Obi said, that to me, what I'm saying today, guys, is if you decide to go to Africa, there's two things I want people to understand. You have to have what we call spiritual reconfirmation of yourself. Because when you go back, it's a different scenario. Like for me, if I'm taking people to Nigeria, if I want to, when they want to go, I ask them, are you going for vacation? or are you going to find out purpose of why you are African, where you come from? Because when they say they're going for vacation, I'll be honest with you, I will only let them stay in Lagos or stay in Lekki, which is more affluent than this. I would not take them to my own village because it's a different total game. But in the village, that's where they're going to see the reality of African. That's where they're going to see the priests, the everything that they need to know about Africa. They're not going to see what in depth of the African nature they are in the city, because Lagos is like New York, so they're not going to see that. But when they go to the countryside, when they go to the village, they can see. Like you, Dennis, you've been to. You can't compare when you go to Oshun Festival. What do you call it in Ogbomoso or Osogbo? You can't compare that to Lagos. And even though when you stay, when you travel, so those are the type of things that people going to Africa, I want them to, before you decide to go, know the purpose of why you're going. Make the connection here to the Africans who are here, that lives here, or who are from that part of the world. Even though some of us that have lived here, we don't have the full information, because sometimes we end up giving misinformation because we're not on the ground. We don't know the current issue of that country. And many of us who have left our country, we come from a different purpose. Some live with a political bias. Some people live because of the anger of the government or whatever it is. So when you meet such people in diaspora, they're not going to give you the true color of where they come from. They're going to give you the negative. Because that is, you know that many of your views, if you happen to come in contact with a lot of Nigerians, you know that you're not going to get the full clear picture of Nigeria. Somebody will tell you this is good, somebody will tell you this is bad, until you decide to go on the ground and you decide for self. So for me, it's like any people in diaspora, both in Caribbean and here, that wants to go back to the motherland, they need to find out, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? Economic is good, because even when we go back there, even when some of us, like that, as you're establishing a school, even our education system has to change. Because you see, I grew up there. I went to university. I did everything. Education they give us is crap. I'm sorry to say it. They don't make us to be individual. They don't give us what the critical thinking in our education. How many of us who are doctors, who are engineers today in Africa, where are we? We in diaspora here making it. We didn't contribute. I mean, I can tell you today, with the population of Nigerians, level of education we have, we are supposed to be the the Silicon Valley of Africa. Nigeria, every African country is supposed to be coming, because we have the economy, we have the population, we have everything that we can move Africa. And I tell you what, until Nigeria change and liberated from their mentality, before Africa can move forward. You hear what I just said? Because you will find every single attitude, every single behavior, every single nature of Africans in Nigeria, in each tribe. Because every time I travel, because I grew up in northern Nigeria, I see the outsides the way they are. You see them in northern Africa, you see the attitude. And then, being the father, I'm a Yoruba, I see the attitude of the Yoruba, I see them in Congo, I see all those type of things. So this is, for African Americans to go back to Africa, that should be a sincere connection for us, to know where we can connect and grow together. Because we're going to end up again fighting against each other. And that's what we don't need. Because, and I tell you what, being the father, and I've read a history, and that's why sometimes when you guys talk about it, because the first generation of Africans who came back to Africa, dynasty, most of them did not come back to go with the tribe, to stay with them. Some of them may come back as elite, caste society. They come back and say, I'm more educated than you. I can wear suit and tie. They never mingle or go back to, because most of them, like you said, have been taken from different tribe of Africa, and then it is hard for them to say, I belong to this tribe and stay. And that's what the issue with Liberia. That is, if you guys read the history of Liberia, that was the key issue of Liberia, because those who are returned they failed to adopt back to their original Africans. And they come with the elite mentality.
That's not necessarily all the way.
No, I'm saying when you look at it, it is not true. Like, but that's what must be, because you will find that when they came back, most of the people running the government are the people from America. Am I wrong? They are the people who developed Morovia, which is the city. They are the people that bring the idea of reconstruction. And therefore, that's what I'm saying. But a lot of them did not go back to say, I'm going to learn the language and everything. And then, because they will have come back to us.
Michael, let me ask you this. Michael, see, I think this is the issue when it comes to Liberia. And it will also be somewhat of an issue, like if we were to use like present-day Nigeria as an example. We give this idea that Liberia was a monolith when the Black Americans or with the diaspora, when they returned. I mean, you had Mende, you had Fula, you had, Grebo, you had 20 or 30 different tribes. So when you say they're supposed to integrate into Liberian society, like how is that going to happen when you have all these different tribes? And
well, what I'm saying is that for them, they will have created the idea of us, maybe like you said, decide one language to speak instead of them speaking the English language. We didn't do that. Because our problem, like you said, and let me tell you this, and that's the advantage the European took from us, because if I cannot communicate with you in many ways, I cannot deal with you, because you find out, especially look at Nigeria's situation. If you travel, even, I can tell you as a Yoruba, if you travel within Yoruba, do you know there are certain Yoruba I cannot speak? I cannot even understand them, but they are Yorubas. So they took the advantage of a different tongue of understanding and languages and divide us. That's what they call divide and conquer. Let's face it, it's divide and conquer. What I'm saying, I'm not blaming them, but they should have, because they were well educated over there. They know the wrong of the European. We don't know because we're there. But they should have opened our eyes and said, listen, let us come together. Let's do this together. Let's adopt this language and forget about this and educate ourselves. And that's what it is. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not blaming them, but I'm saying that history said we need to look at it. Because like I tell a lot of people as an historian, there is good and bad in every history. If anybody tell you that African history is quote unquote, it has no negative, no, it's not true. Every history has good and bad. But we have to outweigh the goodness of that history that makes us as human and makes us to be who we are, because of every history that have it. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm not blaming them, but that should be a way that we can move forward or learn from the past of what we do. And that's what diaspora coming back to Africa, we should come up with another mentality of orientation, like, let's listen. We've lived here. We've known the in and out. We've known their secrets. This is what we should do. This is what we should do, so that we can elevate the next generation. So that the next generation that we're creating in Africa, they don't have the mentality of growing up, I want to leave Africa. African is this, because, like you say, the negative perception they're giving us has make the country, because they think coming over here is land full of gold and honey. African is destitute. African is jungle. You understand what I'm saying? So any child growing up there, listening to that, looking at that, what do you think they're gonna do? They want a better life.
Mike, let me pass it to Wisdom Never Sleeps. Go ahead,
Thank
Wisdom.
you, Dynast.
Go ahead.
Appreciate
You'll be the last caller. Appreciate you, Mike. Go ahead, Wisdom Never Sleeps.
Okay, how you doing, Dynast?
I'm doing great.
Good. One thing I just want to say is that attitude is attitude no matter where you go. Whoever you are is going to show up. You can only, and if you remember when Ghana started the Year of Return, it was really looking at actors and actresses. The Black people here on the States that was famous. That's who they was really going for, so they can get in with that money to keep going back and forth into Ghana. So when you bring entertainers over, The entertainer, in most cases, if they're not enlightened or educated or whatever you need to be on Africa, they're going to be who they are, the entertainer, because they're always selling and promoting their brand. And so if whatever Meek Mill did, I don't know all the story, but he's the entertainer. He's going to go however he goes and roll however he rolls. As long as the Ghanaian president saying, I'm bringing another African-American entertainer with some money and possible generate more income on that end, they do because they're brought over to do a certain way. Now, if he don't have any knowledge of how to act or whatever, didn't do a research, didn't get a publicist, didn't get anybody say, okay, you're going to meet the president, so we need to change up once we get off stage or before we go on stage, whenever that meeting was. So you cannot, like I say, you can't blame him for being his brand wherever he goes, because many people go to Africa to perform, whether they're gospel or whatever, but all of them don't always get to meet the president or dignitaries. Some of them do, and they act accordingly. But if he acted the way he acted, whatever it was, he's just being him, and it's allowed. We have to understand, when someone allow you to do whatever, be whoever you are, you just do it. And you don't have any consequences about it unless somebody is complaining. But he can go back again and be the same, do the same, and the Ghanaian president be glad because he's generating some money or making a connection what he's hoped to generate more entertainers, athletes to come to Ghana. That's really the basis of this. And so we can talk about culture, we can talk about all of that, but the basis of it is what's allowed and what is the benefit for the Ghanaian president to bring all the athletes and actors, black owned, to get back and get in collusion with Ghana itself versus any other parts of Africa. Now, I want to change something. I want to say something about, y'all had that show, and I don't want to take away from it, the Bruce family. And I listened to a lot of people, and one thing no one ever said or seemed to understand, they always was talking about, well, maybe the family don't have the money and this and that. Do you know, because I worked in the mortgage side and investment side, when you reach out to developers, y'all was talking about the guy that building skyscrapers and all of that in New York. When you get a developer to come in and you have the land, you really don't need any money once you reach that agreement to say, okay, this is what my proposal is, what we're going to develop. This is the naming rights. We'll have the Bruce family name, or we'll have our name of both. We can generate generational wealth. The developer then goes to the city council, the zoning. They pay the money to get it rezoned. They pay for all of that. They do all negotiations to get it where they can build, because they present their plans. What is it going to benefit for the city, county, or state, and all of that. And then they give them the cost to make that zoning change. They pay for that. So the family didn't have to have any money if the developer come in and they reached an agreement. They would then make money over and over again generationally from that, and keep their name going at the Bruce Family Resort or whatever they named it, with different names of the hotels and stuff being with the investor. So we must understand, just because you broke and have land, you don't have to have the money too if you get the right developers. You're leveraging someone else's money, knowledge, and know-how. That's what was never stated.
Hey, everybody, we're about to close out. I have to go pick up Master from school, but everyone, thank you so much for joining. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror Search for Uhuru. We'll be back on tomorrow. Peace.